This is the third Sabbath, redeeming your relationship. And today our topic is your marriage story. I heard a story. It's not a true story, it's just an imaginary story. People are going to heaven. And guess what? Who's standing at the door is Peter, Apostle Peter. So he's letting everybody in. Okay, right. Next to you. Okay, sir, I have to go in. Okay, right. Spell the word. What word? So he will tell the word. Okay, so if they spell correctly, then they can go in. Okay, the woman was standing at the last, and finally the woman came. Peter, I have to go in. Okay, spell the word. What word? Love. Oh, good. L-O-V-E. Okay, right. You can go inside. So he saw nobody's there. And he called the women. Stay here. I have something to talk with Jesus Christ, and then I'll come back. Okay, so she's now standing at the door. Then a man is coming there. Quite familiar. He was her ex-husband. Everything came back to her mind. And he came near. What are you doing here? Because you're supposed to go to hell. What are you doing here? No, I'm coming to heaven. You're coming to, do you know you have to spell a word? What word? Czechoslovakia. And he couldn't do that. What is your story? What is your marriage story? Suppose if I ask you to tell your marriage story, can you tell without shedding tears? If I ask you, can you just explain how many prayers you offered to get him? I got you. How many fasting you took to get her? Suppose if I ask you to write your marriage story in a small a booklet, can you write neatly without shedding at least a drop of tear on your letter? Or would you write your story with glorious thoughts, with joyful effect, with all kinds of vocabularies that will really instigate, trigger your emotions? Wow! What is your marriage story? Ephesians chapter 5, 31 to 33, Kelvin read very vigilantly and accurately. This is the fundamental, foundational, functional text for marriage. For this cause shall a man leave his father and mother, and shall be joined unto his wife, and they two shall be one flesh. That's the formula for marriage. This is not Paul is writing very newly, but it was already said in Genesis 2nd chapter. God himself, when he instituted, organized, he wrote something, the thesis of marriage. And he's saying, for this cause shall a man leave his father and mother, and shall be joined unto his wife, and they two shall be one flesh. This is a great mystery. But I speak concerning Christ and the church. Nevertheless, let every one of you in particular so love his wife even as himself, and the wife see that she respect her husband. So how to make your marriage story happy, successful? Suppose if I receive your marriage story and if I return it back, could you please edit it? How many lines you will cut? If I ask you, okay, right, Whatever you don't want to happen in your life, take it out, take it out. How many lines will be left over in your page? How to make your marriage story so happy, splendid, joyful, so that can be a true story for young people. Do I have guts to say, here is my marriage story, read it, you will be a successful couple? Do I have the strength, the boldness to give that paper or to tell the story? Children, come, I will tell you my marriage story. Here, tell it to every kindred and nation, my marriage story, because that is most joyful story. But if you think, no, I can't give this story to my children, to my descendants. So what can make my marriage story successful, happy? There are 3 brief things that I would like to share with you. If you think it is too late, share it to young people. If you are still on the way for marriage, take it in. By God's grace, you will be blessed. Number one, mutual respect. Mutual respect. If you want a marriage story to be successful and joyful, respect one another. It is not something that you expect. It is spontaneous. Spontaneous. Once you have decided to hold somebody's hand and say, till death apart, do part. I respect. In my heart, you are on Mount Zion, and I will never ever drop you down, because my respect for you is too high. Everyone or both should respect one another's feeling, one another's emotions, one another's needs, one another's desire and dreams. When I got married, one of my friends said, Melki, do you know when you think you have understood your wife? I said, please tell. When you can read the silence of your wife. It's hard. If my wife sits in the chair thinking something, and when I enter in, I'll just look at her for 2 minutes, then I have to understand what she is actually thinking about. It's hard. But if we understand that 2 are not 2 but 1, then you will understand one another's feelings, respects one another's needs. Nobody can ignore one another. Let me give you a text for that. 1 Peter chapter 3 verse 7. 1 Peter chapter 3 verse 7. Respect one another. Likewise, you husbands, when I say husbands, don't think it is for them. No, it is for both. That's why I'm using the word mutual. Both the sides. Okay, but for the benefit of the Bible, let's read them. Likewise, you husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge, giving honor unto the wife, as unto the weaker vessel, and as be heirs together of the grace of life, that your prayers be not hindered. My Bible says, if you disrespect your wife, your prayer will not be successful. That's my language Bible says. Okay, it says honor but respect in Greek word. If I don't respect my wife, I cannot pray with my conscience. And Paul says here, honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel, and as being heirs together in the grace of life, that your prayers be not hindered. Because when I disrespect my wife, my mind will be contaminated with so many anger, resentment. I can't kneel down and lift my eyes to the hills, where does the help from? No. I cannot disrespect my husband and look for a heavenly God. I know you all must have attended marriage. You all must have attended marriage. By God's grace, I have solemnized many weddings. But why only when bride comes in, we all stand up? I asked many questions in the forum, in debate. When king marries a woman, she is called queen. And when queen marries a man, he is not called king. Sister K, you have to answer me. The poor groom comes along with the minister and waiting here, standing here. And she is there with lots of people around. And when she enters, all rise, we stand. There is a sense. There is sense. Because now I'm speaking boldly because my wife is a virtuous woman. Because she is pure, honest, sincere, I can talk to you. I can talk to your eyes. Because my wife is good. Say like if my wife is not pure and good, and I can't speak loudly, boldly, with eyes widely open. Why? Look at your wife first. Then you come and preach. So I will humiliate myself, insult myself. So I praise the Lord because I respect my wife, because my wife's character and humility, now I stand upright and just preach. So also, she is able to come to you and speak because her husband is an upright man. I can sit in the judgment court and speak and say, you are right and wrong. Why? Because we respect each other. We respect one another's spirit. Proverbs chapter 31. You all know about it. Proverbs chapter 31, 23, 24, 25. Beautiful text. Her husband, it's talking about virtuous women. Her husband is known in the gates. When he sitteth among the elders of the land, she maketh fine linen, and selleth it, and delivereth girdles unto the merchant. Strength and honor are her clothing, and she shall rejoice in time to come. So she will rejoice, and husband will sit in the judgment or at the gates with the elders. Why? Because both respects each other. Both respects their feelings. Both respects their desire and needs. In 1990, I was a chaplain in college back in India. The college, say like head teacher. Her name is, this is some Adventist college. So Mrs. name, MA, MSc, MPhil, all those. Hundreds of students, and she is head teacher. If she walks, all the teachers will stand up, including her husband. Because husband is an elementary teacher. Mr. name, nothing there. Nothing there. So now I'm deployed to this college. So I went to her office, name, and the MA, MPhil, and all those things. So then they introduced, this is her husband. Hello sir, how are you? Nothing. And I was wondering, she's well educated, top in the college, and he is teaching kindergarten, elementary, because not educated. But somehow, the pastor's mind is sometimes crooked. Okay, somehow they want to visit home, how they are behaving. So I just visited. So I took her husband after the school. So we both went, and his wife is waiting, which is head teacher. For your surprise, as soon as we both went, she stood up welcomed her husband, asked him to sit, brought hot drinks and samosa and all those things. Then I understand what's going on here. When I sit in my chair in the office, he respects me. When I go home, I'm his wife. I respect him because I'm his wife, although I'm headmistress. There is a story, I recently read it. Before Duke Philip died, okay, Queen went to his, who is that? I'm Queen. I don't need it. Oh, sorry, I'm your wife. Come in, please. Mutual respect will really make your story successful. Number 2, mutual understanding of finance. And in fact, experts say the second most dangerous ignorance in marriage is understanding of finance. You can ask me many stories. I can give you. Husband doesn't know wife's salary. And wife doesn't know how much her husband earns. Understanding of finance. Bible says about it. You need to be very careful. You have to come together. If you think you are not two but one, the money is not yours and mine, it is ours. Our family, expenses, income, we both should know what we are spending and what we are earning and how much is the saving. Do I know if my wife is returning tithe? If I say, I don't know. No, something is wrong. You are in the second dangerous stone. Let me read it. Luke chapter 14, 28 to 30. Luke 14, 28 to 30. Okay, it says, for which of you, intending to build a tower, sitteth not down first and counted the cost, whether he have sufficient to finish it, lest haply after he hath laid the foundation and is not able to finish it, all that behold it began to mock him, saying, this man began to build and was not able to finish. I'm talking about marriage building. I went to his wedding. What a delicious food. The suit is so expensive. Ties, designer from Italy. What a parade and all these things. Beautiful. But he couldn't take it further. And people will begin to mock. Why? He doesn't know how to maintain the situation. For which of you, intending to build a tower, sitteth not down first and counteth the cost, whether we have sufficient to finish it, lest haply, after he hath laid the foundation and is not able to finish it, all that behold it began to mock him, saying, this man began to build and was not able to finish. Jesus is saying, just one more text, then I will go to the last one. One more text. One sister said, when I was discussing this, I had rather be poor with you than rich without you. I had rather be poor with you than rich without you. Mutual understanding of finance. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verses 10, 11, and 12. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, 10, 11, 12. He that loveth silver shall not be satisfied with silver, nor he that loveth abundance with increase is also vanity. When goods increase, they are increased that eat them, which means if I have so much of money, many friends will come with me. When goods increase, they are increased that eat them. And what is good is there to owners therefore, saving the beholding of them with their eyes. Mutual understanding of finance. Many marriages are falling apart because of the poor maintenance of finance. And to be honest, you all know about it. So what's the first one to make your marriage story happy? Mutual respect, mutual finance understanding. And the last one, mutual expectation. Mutual expectation. Here is the golden rule. Luke chapter 6, verse 31. The third one, mutual expectation. Okay, so we all have to know each other's expectation. I cannot expect only my wife should satisfy or meet my expectation. When she asks me something, no, I'm busy. No, can't. Can't happen like that. Mutual expectations. And as you would that men should do to you, do you also to them likewise. That's a golden rule. What is the minimum expectation of your spouse? If I ask you, I'm visiting you, I'm asking, do you know what is the minimum expectation of your spouse? Minimum expectation. So what is the minimum expectation? You know, sometimes people tell me, Pastor, what all I expect is just the minimum attention. Just the minimum attention. Minimum care. I'm not expecting something so massive. Just minimum expectation. Minimum care. Minimum respect. Just minimum support. Genesis chapter 3, verse 20 is the last text for today. God said, when you labor, you will have pain. Satan deceived her. Adam also said, and because of her, now everybody left. Eve stood alone. And really I'll become emotional whenever I read this. Adam turns to his wife. And he did not want to give her up. And Adam called his wife name Eve because she was the mother of all living. That's enough for Eve. You want me to leave the garden? I'm all right, ready. Because so far, how she was called? Women. She was called what? Women, come here. If I call you women, come here. Don't I have a name? Hey man, come here. Don't I have a name? Very first time when she was left alone, Adam could not bear it. Because Adam was able to understand from the eyes of the minimum expectation. Listen, I become victim. Now I'm alone. Everybody is looking at me. Because of you, the world is cursed. Because of your lust, now flowers are falling down. Green leaves are becoming dry. Now cheetah is chasing a deer because of you. And Adam said, I'm not going to leave you alone. You are going to be called Eve. Because you are mother of all living. She was exalted by her husband. Mutual expectation. So may the Lord bless us. Our story. Our marriage story. Just do that minimum. Our marriage will be very happy. There was a fight between husband and wife. All words which are not in dictionary are used. Even neighbor opened the window and began to see. The husband is saying, quiet, calm down. So she is, and he also began to shout. Both. Okay, this morning we shaking, the windows are shaking like this. Okay. Then man decided. Okay, he did something. She stopped fighting, went to kitchen, brought tea, not only tea, samosa, bhaji, whatever the snack there. Come on honey, eat it. So the neighbor who was, hey, what happened? What did he say? So because he also wanted to learn that. You had a fight, like a war. But all of a sudden, she stopped and went to kitchen, brought you drink and samosa. He said, I said, because you are so beautiful, you cannot talk to me like that. That's enough for her. She went to kitchen and brought. Because you are beautiful doesn't mean you can talk to me like that. Everything is changed. So what is the fundamental reason for the minimum appreciation? You are beautiful. All fight is over. Tea is ready. Samosa is ready. Everything is ready. Honey is ready. Just meeting the minimum. Because you just say that your spouse will be all right. My wife said, because you are pastor, you can't talk to me like that. You talk to your church member, not to me like that. End of story. Finish. Write your marriage story. Job.